Barker.
Here.
Mr. Farley.
Here.
Mr. Broom.
Here.
Dr. Hutton.
Here.
Ms. Ray.
Here.
Mr. Rich.
Here.
Mayor Goodwin.
Here. Okay, so we'll have an invocation by
Dr. Houghton.
Captain House.
Take my mask off, excuse me. Well, I want to recognize that Father Babbitt consulted with me and we selected this. And I'm thrilled because it's St. Francis and my mom's name is Francis. Lord, make us instruments of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, trust. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in the giving that we receive, it is in the pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternity. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the mayor's comment tonight, I have a couple of things. One is the city council meeting for March will be changed to Wednesday, March the 10th. Same that time, just different that day. Wednesday, March the 10th. Also was asked to have a Memorial Day proclamation for COVID-19 victims and survivors. And that is, by proclamation will be the first Monday in March. It's designated as COVID-19 Victims and Survivors Memorial Day. And whereas this is an illness caused by a virus that can be transmitted from person to person and is spread across the world, creating a global pandemic that is having catastrophic effects on human life, our community, and our economy. And whereas local and state governments, health departments, public servants have taken bold actions to protect residents, support struggling local economies, and find innovative ways to provide services. And whereas in response to the rapid spread of COVID-19 and stay-home orders, essential workers have stepped up to provide critical services and to help protect our communities and save lives, sacrificing their own health and safety. And whereas COVID-19 has had a disproportionate impact on low-income communities and communities of color, exacerbating inequalities already prevalent in our system, that we must address as a nation. And whereas public health guidance, procedures, policies targeted at prevention, such as social distancing, wearing masks in public, and staying at home to help migrate the spread of COVID-19 prevents illness and lessens the burden on individuals and society. Whereas the symptoms and severity of COVID-19 can vary dramatically by individual, and the long-term health implications for survivors is largely unknown, as many survivors suffer with lingering side effects of the disease long after they are no longer tested positive. And whereas 2,318,566 people worldwide, 463,388 in the United States have lost their lives, and that's probably changed since this was written upward, to COVID-19, and in Charleston County alone, more than 418 lives have been lost to this deadly virus. And whereas each life lost to COVID-19 matters and leaves a hole in the hearts of loved ones, family members, and surrounding community, now for be resolved that the City of Folly Beach supports the designation of the first Monday in March as COVID-19 Memorial Day in remembrance of those who lost their lives and in honor of those who are forever marked by COVID-19 and continue to suffer from the impacts of this virus. Given under my signature and seal of the City of Folly Beach on the 9th day of February 2021. For your record. Okay, so that's my comments for tonight. Now we have a staff report by Mr. Sullivan.
Hello, everybody. I want to give an update on the
RFP that we advertised, we started advertising last week. It's for the EMR, which is automatic meter reading. And we looked at, replace about 1,200 meters on the, quarterly reads. And we should have the bids are due, proposals are due on February 19th. It looks like we have a lot of interest in it. I'm excited about it. I don't have any idea what kind of numbers we're gonna get back. I have no clue. But hopefully we can work it out and get these, meters changed. Currently, they're raised manually every 3 months. It takes about 2 weeks for the guys to read all the meters, weather prohibited. That's a lot of time every quarter, they're doing nothing but reading meters. With the new system, which is called a drive-by, we'll be able to read the meters in probably about 3 hours. Just drive down the street in the truck, and the reading as it goes down the road. It's something similar I'm doing by what Sullivan Allen has, because they're about the same size as us. They have what they call a touch read, you have to actually go put a stick, a wand on the meter itself. Another one is something they can just drive by, however long it takes to drive every street on the beach in 2 hours, 3 hours. That's really about it. You wanna know something on the 19th, how we look? Any questions?
Right?
I'm excited. Yeah, I've been wanting this since I took this position, planning for it. See how it comes out.
Since you want it so bad, we just cut your salary and help pay for the meeting.
Yeah, my guys are like that. They get tired of reading those meters every 3 months.
Or you're gonna have to raise them. You're gonna have to
We've
raise,
been
the
doing
buried
that.
ones, we have to raise them up.
We've been doing that the last year
Okay.
in preparation for it. Once we get them all we have to do is swap the meters out.
So will those people go from quarterly billing to
Well, I think we'll still
monthly
do
billing?
it, still do it quarterly. I don't see a reason to change it. Gosh, I was gonna say something else, I forgot now. What do you forgot what I said?
So they won't have to technically ride every road, every billing. If they stay quarterly, you only have to do a fourth of them every quarter or
Well, we can still do them all in one day. And then bill them, so we always, saving on the labor, the 2 weeks of labor to read the meters.
But if you're gonna read them monthly, why not bill monthly?
That was good. We have to look into the numbers as far as the,
Well, we have to look into it since we got to that other billing system.
right, we have,
What would that take to change it from quarterly to monthly for all of them?
There'd be some software stuff that they'd have to do, there'd probably be some consulting fees to get that all worked out, and then, there'd also be, the postage and,
postage meter,
and of course you have more labor too, right? So they'd be reading it 3 times as often. Even though it's a few more hours, they still have 50 additional costs there, but, right now, what's the breakdown for account? So you have,
Well, they don't read it, so they wouldn't read it but once a quarter. They wouldn't read it every month.
I would think we could just still leave it billing it.
Yeah, so they read it in January, they read it again in March.
Water bills are cheaper for the city tank.
How about our accounting and our bookkeeping checks every month as opposed to 4 times per year? That are
That's why he's talking about the software stuff.
there'd be some adjusting that has to be done in the billing, in the software itself. As far as the accounting, it's pretty straightforward.
We put in the RFP that whatever system we get, it has to be compatible with the power billing software. From what I understand, they've all told me that it's all compatible. All the vendors have said everything's compatible with the power. Which should make it very simple.
So it's not a rolling quarter. Everybody gets billed January, February, March. Boom, March, end of March goes out the bill.
It's not that my quarter runs differently than your
They're
quarter,
all the same.
so we're only doing a third or whatever.
They're actually just red. If you live on the west side, you might be red on one day, then on the east side, it might be 7 days later when they get red.
Right.
Just because it takes so long for the guys to come in.
And there's a lot more quarterly accounts than monthly accounts.
We're gonna change out, 1,200 meters,
Right now, your monthly accounts are only about
800.
800, which are currently automatically read.
They're automatically read.
The monthly.
So the new system will have to be compatible with what system we already have in there, or?
It's gonna be a different system, but I think it's going.
So even the 800, we got 800 automatic readers out there now, and we're talking about replacing all of those?
The 800 currently are the sewer customers. They'll stay the same. That system will just be separate. They can both talk to Kyle when it comes together. But it'll be all separate. I'm not gonna change all that right now.
Now, whenever we choose quarterly, perhaps maybe we get that works out well, then we say, okay, as we replace monthly, we'll start from the general route.
What I'll tell you is, initially, we're gonna start with 300 meters, get them underground, get more. I don't have a place to keep 1,300 meters at one time. So we do 300 the first time, and then the guys get them in, and then keep going. So the 1,200 runs up. Also, if you've got that many meters sitting on the shelf for 3 years, we lose 3 years of battery life. But then they're sitting on the shelf. So if we just keep fresh ones every year, we get the fresh batteries down.
Can you privatize the installation of them? Like, the company that supplies them, tell them what's the turnkey? Seems like that'll be the bottleneck,
Well,
is having our guys having to.
I talked to Charleston Water about using, they have a crew that does that, and it's just so expensive.
Is it?
And it's just what they cost effective to do that. But they can afford it. My guys can do it, they can do probably 10 or 15 a day. It would take them long to do them all.
All right. Moving right along, we have approval of the agenda, motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
So we'll take that one out. Approval of the minutes from the January 12th meeting, have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Any discussion or errors or omissions? None? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Groom,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes. So we have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 22nd meeting.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion or corrections or additions? All right.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Groom,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes. So we're up to personal appearances. Are you ready, Ms. Watkins? So Stephanie Dasher?
The mic must be.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
You're still muted.
No, you think you got the technical things down. I wanted to say thank you to all of you, Mr. Chair and the council, for taking the time to let me speak here tonight. The city of Folly Beach has always been very supportive of the Warrior Surf Foundation, and we do apologize for missing the first reading on this. Unfortunately, both myself and the executive director were out of the country when the first reading took place, so we didn't find out about it until we returned. And I do understand that you guys have a lengthy agenda ahead of you with a significant number of readings ahead. So I really appreciate the time to speak here. First, for those of you who may not be very familiar with Warrior Surf Foundation and what we do, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We're not a business. Our goal and our mission is to enhance the well-being of veterans physically and mentally through adaptive surf therapy. And what that looks like is a 12-week program that's free to veterans and their families that consists of surfing up to 3 times per week, a wellness coaching session, and group and one-on-one yoga. And I'd like to touch specifically on the wellness coaching session and the piece of that. I think sometimes people view our organization as a sports-centered foundation, when really we're after the mental health of the veterans and their families. So our wellness coaching is predicated on something called evolutionary psychology, which is a fancy term for no matter what your socioeconomic, cultural background is, everyone has areas of importance in their life. And when they act on those areas and feel fulfilled, when you feel fulfilled, you're better able to deal with what life throws at you. And so we use modules each week with our veterans that touch on resiliency and mindfulness to actually enhance their mental well-being. And to that end, Warrior Surf is supported by the VA. We have the support of the VA Adaptive Surf Therapy, the Citadel, MUSC, the College of Charleston recently reached out to us and would like to perform another research study, as well as the International Surf Therapy Organization, which we collaborate with to provide evidence-based research to the surfing community worldwide. And so we have a national and a global presence. And one of the things that we believe strongly is that to transition veterans to become positive socioeconomic, active contributors to our socioeconomic system, that's a collective effort. We can't do it alone as an organization. And we believe firmly that Folly Beach is a part of that. And we thank Folly Beach for everything that they've done for us up to this point. And that's where I'd like to address Ordinance 0121. As it's written, it would preclude us from parking there, which would limit our veterans to access from necessary proximity to the beach, as well as restrooms for our disabled veterans, the ability to pick up and drop off their surfboards, a consistent and easy location for our students to meet. And what another crucial and integral piece of this is an easy location and access in case of a medical emergency. I think when you saw in the read ahead, you'd see shared a few pictures of one of our veterans we had out recently who had serious mobility issues. When we talk about veterans coming, ingressing, egressing from the beach, we have veterans of various different capability and mobility issues or abilities. And I think that that's important to consider when we're talking about this ordinance and Warrior Surf's ability to affect their mission in the way that is intended. If you take away the beach, you really take away our ability to affect our mission efficiently. And so when we talk about being a nonprofit and our mission, I'd like to also talk about the fact that, you know, we're not a business. I understand that the city has to make revenue and generate revenue, and Warrior Surf doesn't want to do anything that isn't in the best interest of the city. But our organization is run by volunteers and 1099 contractors. And, you know, we have an entire yearly budget for 2021 of just over $350,000. And the budget for all of our instructors is less than $200,000. So again, the way the ordinance is written is going to preclude us from affecting our mission. And we're just asking for consideration from the city of Folly Beach and from the council to either, you know, amend the ordinance to exempt nonprofits so we can continue to deliver this mission, this critical mission, or that we would be potentially able to have a nonprofit parking tax so we can continue to park.
Your time's up, so I'm gonna ask you to do it a little bit slower Because you're breaking up on us some too, so.
I apologize for that. I was hoping I would have a better internet signal. What we're asking for is that the council would either exempt nonprofits from the ordinance as it's written, or that the council would allow Warrior Surf as a nonprofit to have a parking pass to continue to park at West Third Street.
Okay, y'all heard the ask there. Motion?
I'll make a motion to exempt any 501c3s.
Any?
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
How are you gonna monitor that? Any 501c3 can be exempt from a parking lot? I mean, they still have to go through the park, they still have to get a pass. I mean, they'd have to go through all the proper city channels, but just you're gonna have so any 501c3 doesn't have anything to do with the beach. You can have a group over here that does things somewhere else, just getting a pass just to be able to park. I mean, you're open, all 501c3s are opening up way too much.
We sold 50 of them, so they'd have to be in the existing 50
Right, yeah,
that
we
were
still
sold.
have a limited number already. And have those been purchased?
Yes, those are
All
all.
50?
They were gone in 2 hours.
Most of them are businesses, I would assume.
If you wanna do a
Surfers,
No, only 10 were businesses.
surfers. We did 10 business, 50 non.
yeah, but you're not talking about buying anything, you're talking about.
I'm talking non-residential, yeah,
Non-residents are gone, those, none of the businesses.
okay.
We have not sold any of the business passes.
So no business passengers, so.
No business passes.
But if you want to exempt, I would not say all non-501c3Cs. I would say it would have to be, modify your motion maybe to say it would have to be a 501c3 that was council approved. That way, if you wanna vote it for that way,
Okay,
they
I'll
would have
change
to
it.
come, they would have to come individually every time and
yeah.
sell you on a.
On the benefits of,
Yeah.
of the 501, okay?
Yes.
I change it.
So who
Two.
seconded that?
I did.
Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes.
So now,
So any 501c3 that has a business parking pass can apply for an exemption to the restrictions on 2 East or 3 West
With council approval.
with council approval. Is that right?
so you're not giving a pass away, you're just.
No,
gonna-
no,
You're gonna let them buy a pass, I misunderstood you.
Yeah,
You're gonna let them buy a pass?
Exactly.
Okay, so the motion is that a 501c3 can buy a business pass for, how much is it? $450, and they can use that pass, that one pass, if council approves it, to park in those 2 parking lots.
Correct.
But they're not guaranteed a pass. They
Yeah.
still have to be within the first 10.
Right.
Right.
Did you, is that how you understood it when you seconded it?
Well, other than what we've added, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And they're not
Make
guaranteed
sure-
a spot.
I wanna make sure we're all in the same spot here.
You're
Right.
not saving a spot for them. They have to get there.
No, they have to get there
Trying to
like
get there.
everybody
Just
else.
like
Yeah.
anybody else, yeah.
So the one of the 10 of the businesses, we're okay with saying non-profit, it's $450, and they can do one of the 10.
It could be 10 of 10 theoretically if we,
Yeah,
if
but
we
they
approved
each
it.
would have to
But
come.
what I'm
to the
saying
council.
right now is they have to come through us, and right now what we're saying is this one would be one of the 10.
Correct.
Right,
You can
And
park anywhere. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And it has to go through whoever the nonprofit is, through this system.
so they would have to know that it went through the system, and they would have to be able to make a notation that one would be good.
Okay, correct.
All right.
So
Okay, that's
they can park anywhere, just like anybody.
anyone else.
It's just 2 East and 3 West.
I'm with
They
you.
have to apply for a special exemption.
Yep,
Bingo.
I'm
So,
there.
hold on, when do the business passes go on sale?
We have them, we have had them for at least 2 weeks now. We haven't advertised them yet because we were notifying,
Sometime in the next 4 weeks, probably.
Yes.
So between this meeting and next meeting, those are gonna go on sale, and I can probably guarantee you they're gonna sell out before we have another chance. So if 501c3 has to come to us for approval to get one of those passes, you see what I'm saying? They're gonna be the only ones that
No, they
even
can
comes
buy a
up.
pass. They they have to come to you to get approval to park in two.
So they have to be one of the ones that gets the approval first, it gets the pass first, and then come for approval to park in those.
Right,
Right,
that's the way,
That's why I'll do it as well.
Okay.
that's,
Okay.
I understand.
All right, we all on the same page?
And to clarify, this
Yep.
this is for the not-for-profit, not for the not-for-profits patrons,
Right,
Correct.
just for the business, so to speak.
Yep,
well, the patrons have to just buy up.
Correct, but
Parking.
if one of her frequent users had one of the 50 passes, we're not allowing them to park there.
no,
See what I'm
it's,
saying?
They'd have
She's
to pay.
saying,
They could pay to park.
Yeah,
right,
Correct.
yeah,
Or they can park on the street for free.
okay,
yes.
yep,
we're all on the board?
mhm,
Oh, yeah, we're all on the same.
Yeah, no pun intended.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, would you like to call the roll?
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Dr. Hutton,
Yes,
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Rich. Yes. Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes. Okay, did you understand what you just heard?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I understood. Thank you all. We really appreciate this exemption. And to be clear, once we apply for the business parking pass, the next step is we actually have to then apply for the exemption.
Well,
I think we kinda just gave them the
yeah,
exemption.
you
didn't
just
we?
got it exempted, you just have to make sure that Warrior
Jared.
Surf, you just
We can do that, no
make
problem.
it, yeah,
No
so,
problem.
so you just make sure that you tell them it's for Warrior Surf. That got exempted at the council meeting, Jared's sitting here, he knows, so he can pass that on to his folks.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, thanks, next is Mr. DePrima.
Hello, City Council, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good to see everyone. Thank you for your time. I'm gonna make this very quick, given the low level of significance in comparison to other matters.
Rob, if you will, just give us your name and your address.
Yes, Robert DePrima, I live at 306 East Erie Avenue.
Thanks.
Yes. In short, we are asking for a variance of 10 feet to our Hudson Avenue driveway in order to access our east side garage. We built our home 3 years ago, and everything has been the way it has been since we built it. We basically designed the home. There's a driveway bay on the east side and on the west side of the home, and because of basically a big natural ditch that's right coming out of the east side. Instead of having two driveways that could go straight into the home underneath, we had to do one driveway with an S curve to hook into the other bay to be able to use it and park our vehicles. What we are basically asking for is to keep it the way it's been for the 3 years we've been there. Which would include a 10-foot variance to the 15-foot rule that's there. The only thing that's changed in the 3 years since we've been there is we've put a little bit of limestone down just to aesthetically make it look better. But we really, it's pertinent for us to have access to that bay, and that's the only way we can get to it because of this ditch that's in there. The other option would be to go with the two driveways and have to build, some sort of bridge or fill in that area. And so I think you have the diagrams that we had. I don't know if you can see from that far away, but this is basically what it looks like now. It just comes in. It's a straight shot into one bay. The other way, it's a turn. It's pretty tight. You got to get in and around these pilings and then in that way. This is where the ditch is. This is what we would have done if we could have without that ditch, is straight in off of Hudson. And so we're just asking for this driveway to be a little bit wider than it would normally be so we can make this turn and access that bay. And that's pretty much all I have.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Question?
So which copy, because I've seen a couple different things, Rob, which one are you going with? You're asking for more, you're asking for the variance to get 10 extra feet on the Hudson side and still have the driveway on Erie, or are you abandoning the Erie driveway?
So currently, yes, we are going to keep the way the Hudson side is with the 25 feet. We do have another 15-foot access on East Erie Avenue. And ideally, we would be able to just have the both sides, one entrance on either side of the property. The one on the Hudson side, we're asking it to be 10 feet wider than it would be allowed to be, so that we can access that other driveway, that other garage bay.
I sort of,
Do you follow me? Sorry if that's confusing.
I think we have some precedent in what we've done before, and I'm afraid that if we allow a wider entrance on Hudson without having you forfeit the one on Erie, we're gonna have a line of other people that are saying, wait a minute, I want the same deal. You made me give up, and I had to give up a driveway on Cooper to add a driveway on Ashley. And I had to put it in writing and take down the sign, and there's been other folks that have come. Last week was a gentleman on Indian. The week before it was Mr. Marshall on the west side. And I just think we should stick with precedent, and if we allow a wider driveway on one side, we should have you forfeit the driveway on the other side, and that treats everybody the same as we've done for the last year or so.
Okay. So a quick question is to be sure we're on the same page. If I were to get rid of the Erie side driveway, I would be able to have a 30-foot driveway on the Hudson side. Is that correct?
Mr. Lutz, isn't that what we've done before?
That's what you did for Mr. Marshall, something very similar to that.
Yes.
Okay.
If you change your motion. If you want to change your motion to that.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Okay, so your motion is now he could have 30 feet on Hudson and
With
0
no-
on Erie.
Correct.
Who seconded that? You did?
Yep.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, just so he knows, part of that condition was to make the property owner have a signed deed restriction, so we worked.
Yeah, you'll have to get Eric and him will work with you to get a deed restriction that says this is what it is for future people down the road, just in case you decide to sell or something.
Sure.
So,
I'll work with Eric on that.
yeah, that's part of the deal. So, any other discussion or questions?
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Groom,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. So that'll be it.
Thank you, Council. I appreciate your time.
So, we're up to Mr. Gerard.
Yes, sir, this is Pete Gerard, 1541 Oak Island Drive. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members, for allowing me to address a recent change in the policy concerning the parking stickers for members of the Folly community or property owners and full-time residents on Oak Island. I understand the city has a new contractor handling the parking stickers. When applying for my 2021 parking sticker, I was advised that there's been a change in the policy. Even though I've had parking stickers for about 10 years now, I was told that my neighbors and I would no longer be eligible. We're hoping that this is a simple miscommunication or maybe an administrative oversight, and I'd like to bring this to your attention. And while I can't speak for every resident and property owner of Oak Island, I can speak for a group of us who consider ourselves part of the Folly community. We patronize the bars and restaurants, our polling places at the church on Folly. We work together with some of our friends that live on actual Folly during floods and hurricanes. We help them put up the plywoods and stuff. And, you know, we refer out of town friends that are coming to the local vacation rental businesses. And we have organized and participated in some of the charity events of the Folly community. While I don't have hard data, I have noticed while walking on Oak Island that very few residents' vehicles have Folly parking stickers. And I suspect that allowing me and a few of the others to have the stickers will not amount to a noticeable difference in the program. We're talking maybe a dozen households, I really don't know. And the tax maps show that some properties on Oak Island are technically within the city of Folly Beach, others are not, which mine is not. If the logic for the change in the policy has to do with administrative fees for the parking sticker program, we'd be happy to discuss those parking fees, as most of us have had stickers for a long, long time, and we'd like to continue to patronize the businesses on Folly Beach and participate in the community. And having parking stickers makes it easier to do so. I asked council to consider an accommodation for me and a handful of my neighbors who have also been a part of the Folly community for a while. And as I say, we've had mine, my wife and I have had our sticker for about, I guess, 10 years. We moved out from the upstate 12 years ago, and most of the people, friends of ours, same boat way, they've been here a long time and have had the stickers. So I asked that maybe there's some way we can discuss paying a nominal fee for the stickers and have access to the parking on Folly. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Well, I want to ask if anybody wants to make a motion, but you know, you mentioned that you've had a sticker in the past, and there's nothing changed about the rules about stickers. The change was about businesses and going up on the price of non-resident stickers. If you got one in the past administratively mistaken, and now we know it, we don't need to make a mistake again, because if we open it, my feeling is if we open that up, we open it up to the world. So, do I have a motion?
Yes, sir, I understand your point of view there. And I guess it just kind of caught us off guard, because when we moved here, you know, somebody said you ought to get a parking pass, went down, showed our identification, where we lived and all. Yeah, I understand it was a mistake now. After talking with the lady at the trailer down there, she explained it very well to me, and I understand that some of us here on Oak don't live in Folly proper and don't pay those taxes. We're just trying to figure out a way, since we are so close to Folly Beach, and we do patronize everything down in there on Center Street, if there's a way we could work out a fee for us to acquire these stickers for permanent residents that own the house and live here.
Y'all heard the ask. Is there a motion? I don't have a motion, so the only way you're going to do that is to buy a non-resident sticker, which is sold out now. So
Yes.
And with all of our friends out there on Facebook screaming about parking at barrier islands at these days and time, this is not a time for us to continue a mistake. Sorry about that.
Yes, sir, I can understand it heartily, because, you know, it is something. The one good thing is, and I didn't realize you could get a non-resident, so I will address that, I guess, in 2022. And the good thing is, you know, we buy the gold pass from the park, so that's usually where we go to the beach anyway. In this case, I was just referring to when we go have restaurants, go eat at a restaurant on Center Street. But I do appreciate your consideration.
All right, thank you. Mr. DePass, is he online?
Yes.
Shucks.
Hello?
You are here.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I said shucks.
Okay, great.
You are here, shucks.
Okay. Yes, I'm here. I am. Thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate it. I'm representing the Eastern Surfing Association again, and our 2021 surf season contest schedule for approval, hopefully. We did not have our season last year because of COVID-19, and our fingers are crossed that this year we'll have better health for everybody, and we can have a nice season following the protocols and everything for local and state. And we've got hours put in place by the Eastern Surfing Association that we definitely plan on following. And I don't know if you've got any questions or comments or anything that I can answer.
Make a motion to approve the Eastern Surfing Association 2021 competition schedule.
Second.
I hope it works out this year.
Me too. Me too. And a lot of others.
Right.
How are you going to maintain some social distancing, because by your schedule in April, I don't see things changing a lot.
Right. Well, the nice thing about it, and what we did is we did push it back from a February start. Last year we didn't do February or March or anything else. But anyway, pushing it back to April, and towards the end of April, we hope that everything subsides some. Even though if it does not subside, what we're doing is in our admin area, we're 6 feet. We're not allowing a congregating area there. We are not allowing tents to be grouped upon. And I mean, it's going to take some policing by the parents, by the volunteer. I mean, we're all volunteers. And we did have, back in September, we did have our Easterns in Hatteras, and I was on the scaffolding for 7 days there. And just a constant, I'm on the PA system for all of our local contests, but it's just a lot of the kids, they're there to serve. So if you have to, you've got to say, hey, if you're not social distancing, or if you are congregating in groups of 3 or more, or 5 or more, or whatever the local mandates are by that time, I mean, we're just going to strictly, be parents about it and try to, have some parental help as well. But, sometimes it's not the kids, sometimes it's the parents. And if we have to, say, hey, you can't serve, or whatever we've got to do. But I really think it worked very well there, and that is a huge undertaking of an event that we had, and it went great. So after that, there were no positive tests, and there were really over 1,000 people that were there. So we're hoping that the same thing can happen here. But we are outdoors, and within the admin area, we're not going to have more than probably 5 people in that area at one time, and everybody will be within separated by 6 feet. So, we're not going to do a buffet style. We normally do tacos or pizza or something like that. We're not going to do that. That's one thing we are going to give up. So,
I have some questions.
Sure.
I'm really concerned about numbers. I don't know a lot about this, the organization of it. April's right around the corner. There's a lot of unknowns. So, are you asking for this whole list of dates?
Yes, we are. We're asking for the surf season to be approved.
Okay. And you mentioned 1,000 at some point.
No, that's the 1,000. The 1,000 that we had was in September, and that was not here. That was the Eastern Surfing Association Easterns Championship in Cape Hatteras, and that's where we implemented. That's the national body, the Eastern Surfing Association. We're the Southern South Carolina district here, but those. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I understand. However, you've done these before.
We've been doing it. This is our 53rd year.
Okay.
I want to interrupt you here because Mr. Wilson just brought up a good point. For an event as big as you are, you're going to have to get sanctioned by the state first. With that many people, that's.
What are we going by for our numbers? Because we're not at 1,000 by any means even close to that. We're probably within, I would say, 50 to 110 maybe.
You're gonna have to read the governor's latest executive order.
Okay.
I think the latest one was in November, and there are provisions in there as to what, I just don't know it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it'll have it, and you need to read it and determine if you fall under it.
Okay.
And what, do you have an anticipated number?
of
That's what he was
attendees?
saying, 100.
For all of these.
For all of those, yes, I can tell you that we start off in April probably with about 40. We moved to May, we jumped to about 50. June, July, August, as the season progresses on, weather gets better. We jump to anywhere from 50 to about 80. The one in August is our 2-day event, and it's 110.
That
Thereabout. I'd say
sounds like-
between 90 and 110. We're separated in our heats by 4 to 6 go out at a time. And then the congregating is whoever's there on the beach to watch. So it's not that we are grouping and then doing, the surf event obviously is in the water.
Those numbers, those are participants, right?
Those are participants, that's correct.
Right. Do you have any
Those are
estimate for what the
competitors.
crowd's gonna be?
No, I mean, it's not huge. I mean, they're bigger, much bigger numbers in and around us at the washout on any given weekend during the summer.
And I'll be honest, I don't know if those state requirements apply to outdoor
I've looked at
events.
the state requirements, and our northern South Carolina ran all last summer because they had different local provisions there. And we really could have done it last year under the governor's orders, even as late as November. So I'm 100% positive of that.
Well, take a look and I'll take a look and
Okay.
I guess we'll see.
Let's put this off to March the 10th, and then we all be on the same spot. How about that?
Absolutely.
Okay? So mark your calendar, Wednesday, March the 10th. It won't be a Tuesday.
Okay.
All
You
right?
got it. That sounds great.
Then we'll all be back on the same page again.
I will definitely reach out to the governor's office by then for sure.
And
Well, it's online.
yeah,
Okay, and I'll forward whatever I need. Do I need to go ahead and send another email just to be on that agenda, or does this take care of it?
no, we can put you there. We can bump you there. So is Miss Watt,
And we can, the other thing that I was thinking of is we can certainly limit what we do from a competitor standpoint. We can cut it off if the state says, hey, you can't run something over 50, then we'll cut it off at 40. We certainly don't want to help. We don't want to be a super spreader by any means. I mean, that's why we held 0 last year.
So we tabling this to.
yeah,
Okay.
your phone number's on the sheet, so I just give it to Mr. Wilson, to Joe. He
Awesome.
can get with you and y'all can all be on the same page before we come back on March the 10th, and then we'll all be good to go. How about that?
That sounds great. No problems. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the meeting. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Do you have any citizen comments, Ms. Watkins? That's weird to call you that. I think she's gonna sell us some liniment or something, Alright, so, no commissioner board reports. We're up to old business, second reading, ordinance 01-21, ordinance amending chapter 72 parking regulations, section 72.21, sale of parking permits by adding restrictions for the usage of non-residential parking decals. Second reading, do I have a motion for approval? Motion. Second,
Second.
any discussion?
That exempts, but also the amendment, look at that.
But y'all made the amendment to the business decals, and
Okay.
you already exempted one, so,
Okay.
they have to come ask you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
No.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. Second reading for ordinance 02-21, ordinance amending chapter 110, general licensing provision, Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 110.04, license fees, 110.37, class 8 rates, by clarifying that each rental unit, either commercial or residential, used as a long-term or short-term rental shall be required to obtain individual business license. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Okay,
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
No.
Mayor Goodwin.
yes. So, under new business to start with, we have an appointment to boards and commissions and committees. Community Promotions Committee is one vacancy, and we have 2 applicants. So, Mr. Somebody, Mr. Pope's gonna call your name, just give him your last name, or you can say 1 or 2, which one do you wanna do? Your last name?
Last name, please.
Okay.
Last name.
Mr. Rich,
Horton.
Ms. Ray,
Miller, Watson Miller.
Dr. Houghton,
Watson Miller.
Mr. Grooms,
Watson Miller.
Mr. Farley,
Watson Miller.
Did I miss something?
Mr. Barker,
Horton.
Mayor Goodwin,
Horton,
Watson Miller.
Miller wins. Okay. Ordinance 3-21, ordinance amending chapter 151, beach preservation and construction provisions of Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 151.23, construction standards for bulkheads, seawalls, and revetments. By amending the standards for seawalls and bulkheads to allow berms as erosion control devices within critical line setbacks. I have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion after the work session last time? Okay.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. And I already recommended somebody to look into this instead of building a wall, so I hope it passes next time, or I'll be in trouble, I guess. Ordinance 05-21, an ordinance amending chapter 165. Dimensional standards of the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 16502, measurements and exceptions by clarifying the definition of high ground and lot area to include those portions of a lot landward of the OCRM baseline or outside of an OCRM critical area. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussions? Okay.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. So all these we've done so far is past first reading, we haven't talked about that, and I didn't tell them either. So ordinance 06-21, an ordinance amending chapter 134, offenses against public welfare of the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances by creating subsection face coverings, section 134.100, 134.02, requiring that face coverings or masks be worn in public in the city of Folly Beach for the duration of the state of emergency issued by the state of South Carolina. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussions?
One. So periodically we receive questions about this as if it's the first time we're bringing this forward, which it's clearly not. Is it safe to say that so long as there is a governor-ordered state of emergency, this will exist?
That's what it says.
What it says.
Okay.
That's what this is for, so we don't keep doing it every
Very good.
60
The
days.
Thank you.
governor has to reissue his every 15 days, which he's been doing
Yeah,
for nearly a year now.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
and I saw him the other day, and he's not planning on quitting anytime soon,
No.
so. Ordinance, well, we got to vote on it first, I'm getting ahead of myself.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
Yes. Passes first reading. Ordinance 07-21, ordinance amending chapter 151, beach preservation and construction provisions of the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances by creating section 151.15, smoking on the beach and at beach accesses, to reduce a primary source of litter on the beachfront. That should be, probably be non-smoking on the beach and beach accesses instead of smoking. The Scrivener's error, I would think. Since that's what you're talking about. Okay. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
I know we got discussion. So
Start.
Ms. Ray, your name's up here, so you get up first.
I'll keep it brief, and really what I'd like to reiterate, I think, is, you know, a smoke-free beach is not a new idea. Smoking litter education is not a new idea. More cigarette receptacles are not new ideas. There's been a tremendous and a conscientious amount of effort towards reducing the amount of smoking litter on our beach, and I'm grateful for those who participate in this work every day, especially in the summer. What I'm asking tonight is why can't we pull all these ideas, education, receptacles, as well as this ordinance, to work together so that we can significantly reduce the amount of smoking litter on our beach for everyone? And y'all heard all the rest.
Anybody else?
Sure, why not? You know, you thing it says primary source of litter on the beachfront. So I have to question why e-cigs and vaping products are brought into it when cigarette butts are the biggest form of litter that you're finding. So if it's truly a litter prevention ordinance, why include vape pens and e-cigs and things of that sort? Isn't that just kind of going after something that's a little unnecessary for your topic?
No, it's not, because when they when they're picking these up from the beach, it's all a cigarette source. So it's a smoking source, right? Vaping, the cartridges, all of that. So it gets lumped together.
But they say cigarette butts. A vape pen is not a cigarette butt. So if they're classifying as cigarette butts, they need a new system. Because they're clearly not the same thing.
It depends on which data you're looking at, because if you look at the aquarium, it's cigarettes.
That's fine. People have asked me these questions, so I'm
Right,
asking them to you.
right. And a lot of it is, you know, truly, I think, for simplicity's sake, right? You know, because it's a trash thing, but it's also a health thing.
So then change your title if you don't mind, and say that it's also a health issue, and don't hide behind litter. Because then in my mind, when you say it's a litter thing, then the emails we're getting about, oh, it's smoking on the beach, that's a health hazard, I cast those aside because it doesn't talk about your main topic, which is litter. We're talking about litter prevention. You see what I'm saying? And if it's just a health hazard, you're outdoors with plenty of room for people to move around. So you choose where you sit on the beach. So it's not, you know, you're hiding it behind a litter enforcement.
We're not hiding anything.
It seems like it. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm all for, you know, trying to educate and stop litter on the beach, but I just feel you're going about it the wrong way. I mean, that's all you can do. You've seen the other comments. I mean, I don't know what else I can say is going to change anybody's minds.
You know, I think the avoidance of the health issue is because we all know what it is. You know, it's been hammered home, not just with this, but just in you know, in living. You know, you shouldn't smoke. It's bad for you. You know, make your own choice what you want to do. But what this is we're finding that cigarettes are the #1 source of litter, cigarette type litter, whether that's vaping, whether that's the cartridges, whether it's a cigar butt or whatever. We're finding those on the beach.
I hear people on your own team have changed sides. I'm just trying to
No
put this out there.
Here.
You know,
Well, I guess
people
that's
that
why-
are on the litter pollution boards have changed over and said, hey, we need more of an educational approach than this enforcement action. It's not enforceable. You're gonna have people running around writing tickets for something that is just gonna occupy more of our police time on the beach.
Well, first of all, I think it's how you interpret what you read.
Well, you have an enforcement section in here with strict fines that start at $25 and go up to $100. So that is an enforcement deal. So you have people out there writing tickets and enforcing this. If you're not going to enforce it, then there's no sense of passing.
No, nobody said about it's not going to be enforced. What I'm saying is this will be you know, along with the education, along with the receptacles, that the emails that we receive from these groups that, you know, very much agree litter is a problem on our beach. That's what they're saying.
I
You
get
know,
it.
we need more education,
All
we
right.
need more receptacles,
You're
but
off
this is in
topic.
addition to that.
We're gonna, yeah. And I have a problem with, if you're gonna enforce this as a litter ordinance, then let's enforce the litter ordinance that's in the state already, so I can find you $1,000, not $100.
Well,
If that's the way, if that's what you're calling it, litter, if that's what you're really talking about, then let's say Folly Beach is gonna actively enforce the litter ordinance that's in the state of South Carolina already, and we can charge you $1,000 per event.
It also picks up your water bottles, because I mean, let's face it, you see more water bottle caps than anything. We're not going to get rid of water bottles. You know, you're not going to get rid of that. And a lot of the things that we have passed recently on the beach, say like your bags and styrofoam boxes, your businesses got behind and they don't use those products anymore. So it finds less and less of a way to make it on the beach. We're not restricting any stores from selling cigarettes. So you're still, the litter is still going to be out there. It's just, you know, that's what made the last program so successful.
Apologize if I'm putting you on the spot. The proposed fines, how do those compare to the other communities nearby that have similar laws in the books?
They're actually, I think, the same.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and this is, no, it's not that it's, you know, the cigarette butts and their trash, they are a source of litter. And that's what this is trying to eliminate. In addition to, they're not the only source of litter, there's a ton, but cigarette butts and things that are involved with that are a number one source. So that is what this is trying to focus on, not just saying litter in general. I mean, you know, yes, that would be beautiful if you could enforce just the litter law.
Okay.
So,
Wait a minute. Ms. Halpin?
I'm just gonna remove my mask, first of all, I want to commend all the efforts. I think we've all read everything. I mean, this has been an amazing education as far as residents and myself. I've grappled with this pretty much all my whole career, actually, living on a college campus, the difference between banning something, is it smoking, is it litter? So I'll make this brief because I think whatever is decided, it's the right thing. I think this is, you know, in many ways. But littering is a crime, and that's my point. I think we need to focus on litter. I think we need to make it clear it's a crime. I think it is a process, and if that doesn't work, then we go to smoking and other things. I believe it's a change in mindset. I believe it's a change in enforcement. I believe after doing the research, quite frankly, there are reasons why litter and trash is the way that it is. Also, banning something is something that is counter to somewhat of my belief in that sense. I mean, it is, I've listened to folks that have said, I have a right, this is America, so on and so on and so forth. I hesitate to do this because I've also been asked, does this mean all waterways? Does this mean now it'll be the river park, which has access to water, so on and so on and so forth? I believe this is a process. I believe that it's unfolding. I also believe that what happens with human behavior is behavioral science. People start wedging litter, they start burying litter. It's human. So that's another piece to it as far as accountability and law enforcement. The other thing I was shocked about is the law. I had no clue about what we were capable of doing, and the chief has really helped me understand the magnitude of how you can hold somebody accountable by fines, by jailing, and, which I love, community service. So, believe it or not, and I believe you're willing to be part of this resolution or solution, is that the people that do litter will be doing community service. If it's 15 pounds or under, it's 8 hours. If it's above that, it's 16. So there's many ways to go for litter law. And then, honestly, if that didn't work, I would go to the next level. So that's my...
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, just to piggyback upon this notion that we have laws on the books already which address litter. The challenge, as I understand it, and I'd love to hear from Chief Gilreath, on this is not only does the person have, take a beachgoer seated in their chair, they discard a can. You have to see them put the can in the sand, and then later on you have to watch them abandon that can. So the fact that they place the empty can in the sand is not in violation of a law. So there's no wonder to me that we're not writing tickets for litter unless you happen to be in a place where someone abandons a pile of trash. Then the question is, again, back to placement, was it their trash or was it someone else's trash that they just happened to sit next to? So clearly, to enforce litter laws is a challenge. The difference with in this case, tobacco use, and someone who wrote in pointed this out, I'm sure many of you have already thought about it. From a policing perspective, you've got the 5 to 7 minutes that they're consuming a cigarette to see them in the act, no differently than if they were drinking a beer on the beach. So I do see both sides of it, but I'm not surprised in the least bit that how many litter tickets have we written on the beachfront in the past 12 months?
It's a handful a year, and it just happens to be most of the time that you're in the right place at the right time. The last few that I worked personally, and that exact issue, you just happen to be in the right place at the right time and see it happen. But the beach is a unique place because it's a place where people leave things and then come back and get them after they get in the water. So it is a very difficult place specifically to deal with litter, because somebody might argue, I was coming right back, I just went for a swim, or whatever the case may be. So it is tough.
If you have strict enforcement guidelines to go by, yes. But if it's more of an educational campaign, like, hey guys, just a reminder, I know you guys do this a lot. Hey guys, remember to pick your stuff up.
Yeah.
You spend more time doing that and just telling people, like, hey, we're watching, make sure you pick it up. And somebody who might have left it there before, like, oh, they're watching me, let me make sure I pick it up now. You can do that as much as you want. So that's why when we say educational campaigns and things of that sort make a bigger difference than enforcement actions, because yes, you need to see them cut and dry, black and white, do this to give them a ticket for it. But if you're just going out, hey guys, just a reminder, litter is $1,000 fine, make sure you pick all this stuff up, your butts, it's more of a softer approach that it's more universally accepted to everybody. Then yes, it is very hard to see somebody exactly leave litter and write a $1,000 ticket. I'd much rather see, instead of this $25 and $50 fines in here, just make them do community service, or put it in there as more of an educational enforcement than a strict, oh, here's your ticket. It would do more good for the litter patrol, that's for sure.
During your time, Chief, have we truly approached it as a crime, as a litter? I mean, I don't know.
In the time that I've been here, there's been quite a few, pushes and programs that deal with litter, with little mascots and signage and things of that nature. But no, not specifically from that perspective. And the state law with littering specifically has sentencing guidelines that include mandatory community service. Wouldn't be necessarily a choice of ours. The state law says that if it's under 15 pounds, it's 8 hours of community service that a judge is supposed to impose on top of a fine, and the fine for under 15 pounds maxes out at $100. So that's what the state says. So it basically ramps up there to deal with illegal dumping, which we don't really.
Right. 15 pounds of litter is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I just needed to know if we had actually approached it that way, or if it was education or this, and it was more gray, but we haven't really attacked it as a crime.
I would say it's more common of an approach if we're out there on beach patrol, we come across a group and they got things laying out there, whether it's a Subway bag or whatever, because they haven't quite violated, the whole discarding and walking away thing. We'll say, you need to clean this up, right? And I'm sure some of these guys that did beach patrol did the same thing. You need to clean this up. And again, it's not often that someone says no. I mean, they're going to do what you tell them to do.
Proactive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Anything new? Questions? Mr. Butler?
Dr. Houghton,
No.
Mr. Rich,
No.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mr. Groom,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin.
No. Pass.
Pass.
First reading. Okay. Ordinance 8-21, Ordinance amending chapter 168 non-conforming of the Folly Beach non-conformities of the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 168.02-07, by applying the exemption for non-conforming uses in the residential multifamily, downtown commercial, and island commercial district that sustain substantial damage to the substantial improvements restrictions. Yeah, Eric could have wrote that easier, I think. Do you have a motion for approval?
And this is merely to remand to planning.
This is, yeah.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Oh,
All right, it's gone. Congratulations, Katie. Resolution,
we have to vote on that?
not just consider the planning.
I was planning on saying no, I thought it was funny, nobody was seconding.
Go ahead and call it, I don't care.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Dr. Hutton?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rick?
No.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes.
I knew I was the only one planning on saying no to that.
And just to send it to planning and get it back, we don't have to vote on it until we get it back. Resolution 621, resolution by Folly Beach City Council to place a moratorium on the approval of any new commercial activities on the beach and approving those businesses operating in 2020 and seeking to operate in 2021. So what I spoke about earlier, do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Dr. Hutton?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Resolution 7-21, resolution by the Folly Beach City Council, that passed, excuse me, supporting the proclamation from the National Association of Women in Construction, NAWIC, for March 7th through March 13th, 2001, being Women in Construction Week. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ms. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Dr. Hutton?
Yes.
Mr. Barker?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin?
Yes. Resolution passes. There you go. You got it now. Resolution 8-21, a resolution by Folly Beach City Council adopting the City of Folly Beach 2021 revision to the 5-year strategic plan. Have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Have a second?
I've got one question,
Okay.
or one potential change. So after our first parking meeting the other day, I noticed in here under Public Works and Facilities, the third line where it says traffic study for Arctic Avenue. If we can I'd like to make a motion that we add the words parking and add $25,000 to that line, because it became very clear that we're gonna need some sort of a island-wide parking evaluation. Might be on a small scale, might be on a large scale, but we're gonna need to set something aside in this budget year to look at that as part of this parking committee. So I would just like to make everybody aware of that up front, that I think we need to add a little bit to that and just put parking study by it, just to kind of open that up.
Well, we'll have to, we're gonna have to, develop a plan if we wanna change any parking on the beach. We're gonna have to develop a plan to send to DOT. So that's a whole different.
Well, this was just doing an evaluation of what we currently have. And the one time it came up a couple years ago, we hadn't properly funded for it. It wasn't a budget item, so it kind of got shot down because of it. But after our first meeting, you can tell that some sort of evaluation, it could be a very small thing, could be more expensive, but it's going to need to be looked at a little more. So if we want to change it in there, or just everybody be prepared for it, either way. I just wanted you to have that was like one and three on our strategic plan. So I want to make sure that we're well aware that it is going to take a little more than just that.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't put it in there. I'm just saying, just so everybody's aware that we're gonna have to create a parking plan,
100%.
a parking use plan with this new deal we're fighting in Columbia right now.
But we can't.
We've
come up
always
with-
done it for DOT, but we will have to have a probably more substantial plan to submit.
We can't do a usage plan until we know what we have. And
But
that's where we were
I'm
starting. We
not-
didn't know where
yeah.
we're at before we know what we
I'm
need to
not-
do.
I'm not arguing with them, just letting them know that we're gonna have to do what you're talking about, is what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah, thanks.
So, you're making a motion to amend it to parking and add 25,000 to the budget.
Yeah, just as a placeholder.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any question or discussion on the amendment?
I think DJ's right, but I don't think it needs to be in a change so specifically as to set it aside. We can deal with it when it comes.
Any else on the amendment, Mr. Pope?
Mr. Barker,
No.
Mr. Farley,
No.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
No.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
I won't say yes, I don't even know what the count was, because I don't even know.
it passes. Amendment passes.
Should have kept that better. So we're back to the original resolution as amended. Any other questions or amendments or? Okay,
I just had a question about the actual document. I just needed clarity about the history museum and the completion of it. That was taken care of, was it?
yeah, you're in here, oh, I forgot where
It's
it's at.
page 82. Page 82.
That's just a recommendation for me, so
Okay.
I might be slow.
Okay. All right. Got it.
All right? Any other questions? So back to the original resolution as amended.
Dr. Houghton,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Ms. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Barker,
Yes.
Mayor Goodwin,
Yes.
passes.
All right, so we're up to city council comments. We'll start with you, Ms. Ray.
Everybody, thanks for watching, and thanks for being involved in, whether you agree or disagree with the smoking ordinance. I think it's important, to hear from everyone, and hopefully, we'll keep trucking with it. Thanks.
Ms. Houghton, Dr. Houghton.
I have just two announcements and then two little poems. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Fam Camp, March 20th. Registration midnight tonight. So that's underway. And it is Black History Month. So one of the things I did was look to a couple of quotes of MLK because of actually the work that we're doing and the commitment to it. And this reflects, I believe, what just happened today. And I really commend all of our efforts. There comes a time when one must take positions that are neither safe nor politic or popular, but she must take it because her conscience tells her it is right. Next, not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great because greatness is determined by service. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Martin Luther King.
None this evening. No comments.
Blood drive March 5th, so that comes up before our next meeting. So you can go online, Red Cross, and sign up to donate blood.
They turned you into a Dracula too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'll be there. February 17th is Random Acts of Kindness Day. So make that day special for just one extra person. Make the world a better place.
Okay, I guess I will. Thank everybody who came out for the Folly Beach Exchange Club golf tournament last week. Congrats on everybody that finished, because it was a very grueling day. Everybody had a great time. All the protocols were followed, as far as that. Everybody's had a really great time once again this year. So just thanks all around, and have a nice night.
Who won?
This guy.
It was rigged. It was
We
rigged.
survived. It was like Survivor out there. We survived to the
They
end.
say you lasted. You lasted.
Okay, so I'm gonna have a random act of kindness for you guys right now and Miss Jolly. If anybody's out there watching and you wanna talk about pickleball, tennis courts and schedules, call me or write me. Don't write these guys. Don't worry about writing Miss Jolly because we will be monitoring them. And we're gonna make it equal across the board for everybody as best we can. So, you know, call me. Don't call your council people. Write me. Don't write your council people. They don't need it.
It is an act of kindness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, I was the one that helped get it started, and, you know, I was the one that spent some money getting it started, tax dollars for everybody to enjoy. So it's all my fault, and I'm gonna take the blame, and I'll take the front of it. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
So moved. You're good. Thank you. Off the record at some time. 7:18.
Catherine, thank you.